Hi, welcome to CineMunn Podcast. I'm your host again, Vince Munn, joined once again by Time Metropolis, who's lost his golden deliciousness. The hair's gotten too dark, so...
It's back to normal.
You need to dye that shit again, man, so we can have some fun.
Lighten it up?
Lighten it up.
Lighten it up.
Lighten it up.
We'll see.
Summer's coming. Come on, Wesker. Oh, he's smiling.
No. I'm still thinking. It's like I can do Wesker and I can do some other outfits that just thinking of for Comic-Con. At the same time, though, my Comic-Con plans have been kind of...
Sidelined?
Well, because I have a wedding that weekend.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, you do. Well, that's your fault.
I guess.
No, actually, it's the person's fault who invited you to the wedding or in the wedding.
You didn't have yours on Comic-Con weekend?
No. January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say. Because, this one's on Comic-Con weekend. The funny thing is, the one last year, too, was on Comic-Con weekend.
I remember that.
Who thought of that? The groom and the bride.
Dumbasses. Don't they know Comic-Con comes before their ceremony of happiness?
Yeah, they told me, they gave me the news last year. They're like, hey, look, we moved up our
wedding date.
Our wedding date, to July. I'm like,
what weekend?
When in July? And they're like, well, this day was completely wide open. Like, nobody's doing anything. And I'm like,
here's why.
What day is it? It's a Saturday of Comic-Con.
That's why no one's doing anything. Because it's
a
Saturday of Comic-Con.
Saturday of Comic-Con.
You have ruined Comic-Con.
I mean, well, it's one thing here in Southern California to be like, yeah, nobody's doing anything on Saturday. Comic-Con. Or the beach, yeah. But, no, it's in other parts of the country, obviously. It's like...
Yeah, it's just
whole
another weekend.
It's just here in Southern California, it's a little obvious when it's like the day is wide open. It's like, something's going on.
Yeah.
But it is a wedding. It's whatever. Festivities. Yeah. But.
So yes, we intend to have maybe more than one show a week during Comic-Con. Right now that's up in the air.
Yes.
It'd be a lot of fun because obviously there's stuff going on every day during that convention. And even that whole week, we like to take as much time off from our own personal jobs to do stuff with Comic-Con, either inside or outside the convention, in the streets of downtown San Diego.
My time in.
I gotta put my time in too, so we'll see if I get it, because I work downtown.
It'd be great to chat about things every day, but the only issue I'm having is that nowadays it's just a pain in the ass to get into panels.
Right.
I mean, I remember my first experience at Comic-Con, it's like, yeah, you can get in a line, you can go right in the room.
Yep.
Now, if you get in a line, or if you want to go to a panel... especially in like a ballroom or a big area, you got to be there hours ahead of time.
You got to be there days ahead of time. Like people line up for Hall H for Saturday on like Thursday night.
Yeah, ballroom 20 and Hall H now. You have to line up hours ahead of time. Like even a buddy of mine back in 2012 was like, he stayed there all night because he wanted to get some line for, I don't think it was a panel, but for merchandise or something. And the thing is, Comic-Con big on merchandise exclusives, especially the whole, I don't know if you've seen it, the hologram, the Goku hologram.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. A nice piece to collect, but at the same time, I've been hearing prices on it. I'm like,
it's like last year I got my Captain America shirt and my Star-Lord mug from the Marvel booth. Mm-hmm. And that mug was only available that day. It was Thursday. That shirt sold out, I think, the next night. Mm-hmm. And I stood in line for like almost 2 hours just at the Marvel booth and just like crazy.
Yeah.
But the nice thing, especially with a place like Comic-Con, I know we're going a little off topic here. We like to talk movies here on the podcast, but obviously we talk a majority, if not almost all things geek, including movies and comic books and Comic-Con. So, the nice thing about Comic-Con is you make friends really quick in line. You find either a topic they're speaking on or something you're talking about, and it just connects. And it's the easiest place to make friends.
It's kind of a nerdgasm.
A nerdgasm? No, that's later in the hotel.
That's too explicit too? Okay.
That's not really explicit, but the nerdgasm is like if you meet Joss Whedon.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's like
that's a nerdgasm.
Collaboration of comic book, anime. There's just, like you said, there's always something to talk about.
Video games, movies, comics, graphic novels,
Star Trekkies.
They prefer the term Trekkers. Trekkie is so politically incorrect. If I get invoke a nerf pinch, you die. Rest in peace, Landon.
So, only thing, speaking of Comic-Con, is that we might have mentioned on an earlier podcast, is that Marvel's...
Supposedly Marvel's not doing anything this year.
Well, again, that was some guy's tweet.
What we say and what we do are two very different things.
But another thing, too, wasn't wasn't his tweet a little elusive, or did you directly say Marvel's?
I think it was pretty direct as far as them not doing anything. But I can't imagine them not doing anything. My thought would be, it comes out I think like a week after Comic-Con, Ant-Man. So why not do the premiere?
Yeah.
At Comic-Con. Well, I know right now they've made their whole thing with their studio premieres up at the Disney Theater in Hollywood.
Well, the other thing too with
I'd make an exception.
The other thing too with Marvel is just I want to see if they do anything with the Netflix series, because
Daredevil?
Yeah, Daredevil is definitely, it's on the map. It's got a second season.
Right.
And Daredevil does make references to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mm-hmm. So potentially what that's saying is that Daredevil is within that universe.
Daredevil is within that universe. They blatantly stated that. Even the suit design for his, if you've watched Daredevil on Netflix, which I hope you have, and if not, go ahead and watch it right now. It's an awesome show. 13 hours. It's a one giant 13-hour Marvel movie is really what it is. And it's so worth it. And the character development is great. The storyline, the pacing, the action, everything about that show is top. I think it's the highest rated Netflix original series.
There's
over House of Cards, which has so much going for it. Over Orange is the New Black.
It's not House of Cards. It's what the hell was that thing? It was like The Strange Case, or what is that? Curious Case. Not Benjamin Button. That's not what I'm thinking of. No. But it was what was it? Anyhow, I can't think of it right now. I know it's up in the front too, but I think Daredevil definitely.
I think Daredevil has surpassed it. I think Daredevil is like the highest rated Netflix original program done by Netflix, obviously with the support of Marvel under it.
Sure.
Well, the weekend box office came in, and the number one over the long Memorial Day weekend was Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland, distributed by Disney Studios, directed by Brad Bird, starring George Clooney, Britt Robertson, and Hugh Laurie. Unfortunately, it kind of underperformed, bringing in $40 million. I think it was like $40.1 million.
And that was number one?
That was number one over the holiday weekend. Yeah. I saw Tomorrowland. I liked it. I didn't love it the way I thought I would. It has some great stuff going for it. A lot of stuff you see in the trailer is almost pretty much how the story goes. It's the way they tell it. There's one scene I really loved where your protagonist, female lead, she goes into this this kind of nerd sci-fi store. And in that store, it's probably my favorite part of the whole film. There's so much memorabilia and pop culture references just in there. Like, if you go into a comic store, you see, you use Batman, Superman. Right. She goes in there and you see Robbie the Robot from, Forbidden Planet. You see the robot from, what's it called? Lost in Space. R2-D2's in there. There's a giant life-size Han Solo and Carbonite. There's Planet of the Apes toys from the 60s, from the old movies. There's all kinds of cool stuff in there that I love. There's a poster for The Black Hole, which if you know anything about Disney, that's one of Disney's earlier live-action films that they tried with sci-fi that unfortunately tanked. But it's really neat. If you can go back and find that film and watch it, it's really cool with Anthony Perkins.
Gotcha.
So that, to me, that was my favorite part of Tomorrowland. Overall, again, Tomorrowland is a good movie. It's not as good as I'd hoped it would be.
I did not really have high expectations for that. Even when I saw the trailer, I'm like, yeah, it's another...
And I'm not a big George Clooney fan. My mom wanted to go see it. She likes George Clooney. And so I was like, okay, I'll go... I want to see it anyways. I go see it by myself. Make sure no one who knows I don't like George Clooney sees me.
Yeah. But... my thing was Tomorrowland, like, the trailer didn't really wow me. It did kind of give that mysterious, like, what the heck's going on. But it didn't have... Even the trailer itself didn't have that anticipation value for me. For me, it's like, yeah, Disney, Tomorrowland. First thing that kind of bumps in my mind. And
the Astro Orbiter.
No, not Astro Orbiter. It's going to be freaking Eddie Murphy, Haunted Mansion. So...
it wasn't that.
No, but that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Pirates of the Caribbean, that's on its own level now.
Yeah.
Haunted Mansion, it tried to follow in its steps. I know they were talking about remaking Haunted Mansion.
They are still on track with that. Yeah. I believe with Guillermo del Toro.
Right, and then Tomorrowland comes out. Tomorrow came out afterwards. Guillermo del Toro?
Yeah.
Crimson Peak?
Crimson Peak, Pacific Rim, Hellboy, Guillermo del Toro. Yes.
Holy crap!
Yes. So think about. Gonna go a little off topic. Think about the potential Haunted Mansion has now with someone who loves horror and sci-fi.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that I know Guillermo del Toro he can definitely make Haunted Mansion really good because, and this is going to probably go into a little bit of a cider topic. PlayStation or Sony, they recently got rid of a video game or a little playable teaser called PT, and that was a hint to Silent Hill 5 or Silent Hills reboot, and it was going to star Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus, he was going to be the main protagonist or antagonist. With Silent Hill, if you play those games, you know that the main character can be either or. But no, Guillermo del Toro, especially with Crimson Peak, I can see the potential for him remaking Haunted Mansion. So
yeah,
that's great. Speaking of Crimson Peak, that was one of the trailers a lot of people when I went to go see Poltergeist this weekend.
Yeah. That was another one that came in on the box office in the top 5 was Poltergeist.
Yeah, well,
you got to see that.
The thing is, but it's the only reason it even sold anything at the box office is because of its name. It's Poltergeist. A lot of people are going to just say, "Oh, it's so and so I'm going to go see it." Good luck.
It's sad because it has a good cast. You got Sam Rockwell in there, who's got a great reputation, great resume. Jared Harris. You've got Rosemary DeWitt, and it's like I've even heard. I haven't seen it myself. I might go see it.
It's one of those things that you can go see it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like it's starting to go into the summer movies. The next big thing I'm really anticipating is Jurassic World.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's like if I know I'm going to go see that, I'm not going to be disappointed. I've had my share of going to movie theaters and having a disappointment. Movie theaters nowadays going to the movies has been kind of like you want to get that experience. You don't want to feel like you rented a movie or put something on Netflix, and then next thing you know, when you finish it, you're like, oh, I could have watched something else.
Yeah.
I don't like that, especially at the theaters. But other than that, yeah.
It's too bad. Well, in other news, we have a few little topics we'd like to go over with you. So, first things first. Excuse me, I clear my damn throat. If I can find it. Fox is rebooting the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Now, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is a graphic novel series written by Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill. It's basically taking Victorian-era heroes like Alan Quatermain, Mina Harker from Dracula, the Invisible Man from H.G. Wells' Invisible Man, Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues, taking them, kind of throwing them all together in an Avengers-like team of superheroes going around solving crimes around the world. Even bringing in characters like Sherlock Holmes and Professor Moriarty, who are actually part of the first story.
Really?
Yes. Now, this was originally adapted into a film back in 2003 starring Sean Connery, and it was the last film Sean Connery did before he retired. After he did that film, he basically kind of said what piece of crap it was, and he retired from acting, which is too bad. The reason Sean Connery took the role was because he was offered The Matrix. He turned it down because he didn't understand it. He was offered Lord of the Rings. They offered him the role of Gandalf, and he turned it down because he didn't understand it. And so when Fox approached him with League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, he said, I don't understand this, but I'll be damned if I turn it down. Because he saw how successful those last films were that he could have been in.
Damn.
And yeah, it's too bad. And the sad thing was he did not get along on set with director Stephen Norrington.
I think
that kind of tainted the experience for him.
The other thing to me, it's Fox. Fox is even... now, I'm going to go away from the studio here. Fox... Even the television series, all the TV shows they have. If you're familiar with the track record of how many shows have been canceled on Fox television, it's a substantial amount. It's a lot.
Firefly.
Yeah. What was The Tick?
The Tick. Yes. Oh,
naming off all of them. Actually, I heard they're going to try to bring that back.
I think, they're going to try to bring that back.
But my point is just, actually, me and Vince were talking earlier about the backlash X-Men's starting to get right now, because Days of Future Past and how it's convoluted the whole timelines. Now, if you've been paying attention to X-Men, there are 3 timelines, and this is one of those things that Fox, they kind of keep quiet about, but they're just like, let's make a movie, people are going to go see it because it's X-Men. And I do not like studios that do that. I do not like studios that just say, let's make this and it's going to make money because it's got a name. Like, for instance, like I said, Poltergeist. It's got a name. It's going to sell because of the name. But as soon as it got caught on that it was not that good, it did not sell. So, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, it does have potential to be a reboot. I would
absolutely love it if they rebooted it.
I don't think it should be rebooted by Fox, though. Oh,
well, unfortunately, they have the rights.
Yeah, that's exactly why they're rebooting it too. Fox is no.
Well, no, I don't think it's the same thing as the way if they don't reboot Fantastic Four, if they lose it. I think it's theirs because if it's not owned by another studio, it goes back to ABC Comics, who is the publisher of it. So I mean, it's not like it's big name like DC or Marvel or even Wildstorm or Vertigo.
Fox is a what do you call it? They're like a little kid with a lot of money. That's basically what Fox is to me. Fox Studios, Fox, whatever. Anywho, so that was.
So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that one. I hope they do it right. The book itself is actually fairly graphic in its violence and its sexuality and its language. It's actually it's kind of dark.
But the thing is that do you see studios even replicating that? They feel like they've got an obligation.
I think they can, because if you look at the way Warner Brothers adapted Watchmen, the way they let Zack Snyder adapt Watchmen, was some people have criticized it for being too faithful to the source material, and that's actually one of the things I loved about Watchmen was how faithful it was to. I mean, some of the background images they created. They tried to do as much as they could to create certain panels straight out of the book.
But you're always for adaptations.
I am for adaptations.
You're always for adaptations.
I am for adaptations.
Not something faithful.
But I'm saying, what has happened nowadays with the way Marvel has been doing the work, even with the way DC has now been starting to do their work, and with the way even Fox now with X-Men, with the current X-Men, despite your thoughts on it, they're seeing that if they remain more faithful to a source material, or if they can get the proper spirit of it, as much of it as they can into that, people will accept it more. People embrace it more. They run to it more. Like the best example I have will be Iron Man. Iron Man was not 2008's Iron Man was not a direct adaptation of the 1960s comic. It wasn't even an adaptation of what Matt Fraction did when he kind of revamped Iron Man and modernized it and put him in the Afghan War as a billionaire weapons designer. They took that, the base element of that. They took that section of it, plus they took the smart-ass, alcoholic characterization from the Ultimates line, from Marvel Ultimates, of Tony Stark, and they blended that together into Downey Jr., and you've got 2008's Iron Man. Obviously, you put a lot more other elements in there, too. But, you look at those, that's the basic influences, and that's taking the hearts and the spirits of those comics and adapting them into the film, and obviously the audience accept it, and they build an entire empire on the shoulders of Iron Man and the success of that film, and how adapting to the spirit in the right way. Again, I'm not looking for a faithful adaptation. If they go faithful, cool. It's a little hard. I mean, some of it's really complicated, some of it's a little racist, some of it you really almost have to understand old English stories.
Yeah.
Or even some of those older famous books. Like, I've never read King Solomon's Mines, but the character of Alan Quartermain, who's the leader of the League, is from those stories. Mina Harker from Dracula, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, those characters are in there. So, I mean, it depends on what they do with it. I think it has potential. Obviously, you know what it is? It's a comic property that is not Marvel or DC, and I think that helps it. It's a lesser-known book by greater writers. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
No, I mean, there's a lot of stories out there that could potentially work.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. You also had...
we had, recently it was announced by New Line that their two-part adaptation of Stephen King's It, their director has left the project. Cary Fukunaga has unfortunately left the project due to creative differences and budgeting issues with New Line. His plan was to adapt the book. If you've ever read Stephen King's It, it's terrifying. It's like the basis for any fear of clowns now. Was originally done in the 90s as a TV miniseries. You and I watched it, I think last year. It's one with Tim Curry and Seth Green when he was very young. Harry Anderson, yeah.
Seth Green. Oh, Seth Green was one of the kids,
one of the kids, yes.
Jeez. Oh, yeah, that's right. Damn.
I can't remember her. Annette O'Toole plays the girl Beverly as an adult. was adapted in the 90s as a two-part TV miniseries starring Tim Curry as Pennywise the Clown, which terrified the hell out of me.
Pennywise?
Yes, that's the name.
Isn't that the name of a band or something?
Yes, isn't it? And where do you think they got the name from?
Oh my god, you serious?
Yes. Yeah.
They might as well just call it Clown ICP.
Right. ICP, Insane Clown Posse! Yeah! So they were set to adapt it as a two-part film. The first film focusing on the kids fighting the creature It and their childhood, and then the second film was to feature them as adults having to reface their fears from their childhood youth. Mm-hmm. The budget, unfortunately, went over. The projected budget that Carey wanted went over what the studio was offering, and due to creative and budgeting differences, he has left the project. So right now it's a little bit in limbo. One thing he had done, which I kind of hope sticks, is he had at least cast the character of Pennywise. It was announced last week that Will Poulter from We're the Millers and The Maze Runner was cast as Pennywise the Clown. Which, if you've seen that guy's eyebrows, I mean, that's terrifying. I think he's a fine young actor. I think he has great potential, and I think to put him in an iconic. Yeah, he was the character of Gally with the weird eyebrows. He kind of came off a little bit like a bully.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And did you see We're the Millers with Jason Sudeikis and Jennifer Aniston?
No, but I know which guy you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does have weird eyebrows.
He's got some weird fucking eyebrows. But no, I think his casting was very unique, and I think he can bring great potential if the studio decides to keep him in that role. Obviously, since the director's now gone, the studio can dismember the entire project and start from scratch again if they want to, or if not, they can do whatever they want with it. So it's sad, but I'm still hoping to see this movie. It's one of my favorite Stephen King books, and I would love to see it on the big screen as a big film. So
he's also who's passed away is
Stiller's mom. I believe it was just reported on Sunday. Ann Meara, the wife of Jerry Stiller and mother of Ben Stiller, has passed away. So we just want to address that really quick and send our condolences from CineMunn Podcast to the Stiller family in their time of grieving and loss. Ann Meara was a big TV and film star. Actually, she was a very famous comedic actress. So that was really one of the hardest parts of it. And with roles in, she actually was in the Night at the Museum films as well. She was in Archie Bunker's Place, working actually all up until last year. So her passed away, unfortunately, at the tender age of 85, at home in New York with her family. And so we just again want to send our condolences out to her and her family at this time. Today it was reported that Chris Pine is in talks and negotiations with DC and Warner Brothers Studios to star in their adaptation of Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot. Obviously, Gal Gadot will be featured first in Batman v Superman next year in the role of Diana Prince / Wonder Woman, and now they're looking at Pine for the role of Steve Trevor, who was her basic connection and kind of handler in the world off the island of Themyscira. So, if he actually takes the role, that's awesome, because he's already established himself as a star with Star Trek. So I can see him very easily taking this part, and I hope he does. But the only unfortunate part is a lot of people have been looking at him for Green Lantern, and if he takes the role of Steve Trevor, then obviously he should be out of the running for Green Lantern. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with either one happening. So
the other one too is Matthew McConaughey's in talks.
Matthew McConaughey has been quoted as saying he's read scripts for both DC and for Marvel films, and he has simply just not decided on what he wants to do, if he wants to even take a role, and what role he would take. A lot of people are kind of speculating that he should play the next Norman Osborn or Green Goblin, and as cool as that would be, I really don't see McConaughey staying into a role like that. It just doesn't, not to me. If I was a casting director, that's not who I would pick. I'd put him in something a little bit more active. I mean, the man is fit. He's active. He can do action. So that's why I want to put him in. I mean, the Green Goblin isn't really an action role. It's a villain role. It's more, good villain roles are a lot of dialogue and setup. And I think with him, even with Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, we didn't really have a lot of action. He was in action scenes, but didn't really do a lot outside of the interrogation room and beating Batman up with a crowbar in the tower in the climax of The Dark Knight. That was really hit it for him as far as being in an action scene in that physically. So I really don't. I don't want McConaughey just kind of taking a silent. Because Norman Osborn is more of a character of talking, and if they do the Green Goblin, depending on how they do it, I just don't see it.
It's just, I see, like, if Matthew McConaughey did Green Goblin, would he be like how he did the Lincoln commercial?
Alright. Spider-Man, I know you did. Alright.
And that's the thing, I mean, McConaughey's got that, kind of that, what do you call it? But, I mean, he has a way you can identify him. No matter what movie he's in, you can always identify him. And not just because you see his name in the credits or you just see his face on the screen. Mm-hmm. Even if they put makeup on him or put him up behind a mask, you're going to know it's him. And to me, I honestly think that's going to be way too distracting. I think it's a risk going with him, but at the same time, this thing with famous actors now, or well-known actresses getting into Marvel and DC. I mean, there's been well-known actors and actresses that have left Marvel because they feel like they want to do something on their own, or they don't want to get typecasted. So there's that.
That's true. I mean, and also especially with films like Marvel and DC, is you're not just signing up for one movie. You are signing a contract to be in like 3 or 4 movies.
Yeah.
And part of that contract is, that's not saying that those 3 or 4 movies will get made, depending on how the first one is received. But if they do plan to make those films, that person is required excuse me, to then show up and be in that film, be part of that production. Obviously, agents can write you in and out of, can try to get you in and out of contracts as need be or as want. But to me, that's kind of a dick move. I think if you're signed to a contract like that, you stick to the contract and do the work.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got those people out there that know how to void a contract or whatever, and they'll do it.
Yeah, that's just too bad.
Yeah.
I think for me the best example of that is Hugo Weaving in Captain America: The First Avenger. He had even said that he was signed for more than one film to play the Red Skull. And he said that after he did the first film, he really doesn't want to do another one.
Yeah,
that's too bad because he was just so good as the Red Skull.
It's not like he underperformed or anything, or just you could tell it's Hugo Weaving. But the thing was, you could tell he got into character and just he played the role. Now the thing is, you could have somebody else that can come along, try to play the role, and just make it. Like, now what happens is that you get some actor trying to make it the character their own, and just doesn't happen. The only person, I mean, fairly recently, like you were talking about Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger made the Joker his own. Mm-hmm. I mean, like when I saw the Joker, I wasn't immediately thinking Heath Ledger.
No.
And that's what I mean. It's like,
actually, for me, I have to think that because then I get used to it. Because then it's like, okay, I know who the actor is, I know the resume, and now I'm good.
Well, I know it's Heath. I know.
I mean, like, for me, it's like, if I don't address it when I see them on screen and the look and everything, it's going to bother me the rest of the film.
Gotcha.
So I have to, like, address it in my head who that actor is, their resume, what range of thing they can do, and then from there I'm relaxed and I just let them perform as they are on film. Gotcha. And so yeah, with that.
So what's your... I know we were talking about this a little bit. What's your take on the play-by-plays of the found footage of all the sets that are coming out? You got pictures and
you got pictures and set videos and film recordings of Suicide Squad and Civil War, and it's driving me nuts. And good God, people, can you just take a break and enjoy a movie? It drives me nuts.
I don't know if it's a boasting thing or what, but
I think it's just people get. I guess the word could be excited, and that they're so excited that the film is either near them, like it's being produced and filmed where they are, or they have easy access to it, and they can go to the set and see it maybe from 100 yards and throw out their phone and record them filming, or record actors just hanging out on set. And that's cool and such, but you know what? I don't need to see 3 and 4 different videos posted up on Facebook of the Batmobile in Detroit. Yeah, I know
there needs to be regulations on that. There needs to be to where if a video is posted up online, and Marvel's done this in the past, somebody posted up the trailer a day or two early, and Marvel actually went after the person that did that. When you in computing and stuff, if you post up a video or anything like that, you leave a trail, and they'll find a way to find you or find out who posted it. There's always ways to leave back to the trail, especially if you do things digitally. Sometimes it's really quick, sometimes it's hard, depending on how savvy you are at how savvy the person is at posting stuff. But my thing is that we were also talking about how trailers kind of ruin movies, and you were talking about Tomorrowland, like the trailer of earlier we were talking about the trailer of Tomorrowland, like how that kind of ruined the movie for you. For me, Oculus, seeing the trailer for Oculus ruined the movie Oculus. Seeing the trailer for
Paranormal. You said Paranormal? Or
Paranormal Activity. It ruined the movie. Yeah. Well, actually, it wasn't even a movie to begin with. Paranormal Activity was crap. But also, The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1. Now, I did have a bit of an anticipation for that, even though everybody said, the book sucks and everything like that. But I still wanted to see the story. The problem was, I already saw the trailer. I already saw the freaking story. I don't need to see any more. Now, the thing is, if I go see Part 2, I'm kind of thinking it's like, I already know what the story is, and I already know... I mean, obviously, you know how it's going to conclude. But it's just one of the things that it doesn't drive my anticipation anymore. That's why now, it's funny because, whatchamacallit, like, you got Hunger Games, Divergence, whatever like that.
Insurgent,
and
Maze Runner now.
Then you got Mad Max.
Young adult.
Fury Road. Yeah, Fury Road is definitely the more mature and ideal post-apocalyptic.
Really? Ideal? You want to be in a desert wasteland?
Well, not more practical, I'd say. Okay. Like, if the world did go to shit, like, if there was...
That seems a little more believable.
A climate issue or whatever like that, I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't think of the Maze Runner like, oh, let's put some kids on an experiment and let's see how they do. It would be that people would start developing their own civilizations. People would, go crazy, go nuts, and they'd start believing in other ideologies. And that's how they get to escape, and that's how they become psychopath and all that stuff like that. If you haven't seen Fury Road, that was a pretty fun one. Definitely action-driven.
I have not seen it yet.
It is action-driven. The story progresses with the action, which is good. It's not like it takes 5 minutes out every 10 minutes to explain the story.
Exposition time.
I know, right? It's like, let's take a pit stop.
Let's take a breather so we can explain what the hell just happened. What's going to happen next? Certain movies do that. It drives you nuts. But I have been hearing only good things about Fury Road, so...
Yeah, to me, it was kind of a rough start, because a lot of people don't know Mad Max, and I think that's where they're kind of saying, oh, I don't want to see this. The thing is, you don't really have to see the movies to understand Mad Max, to understand Fury Road. Mm-hmm. However, to understand the character, you want to see the movies. To understand the character of Mad Max, you want to see the movies. But,
that actually, I think, is one of the benefits of like remakes and reboots. Like you were talking about Poltergeist, how you see it as an unnecessary remake or reboot. Mm-hmm. And what I think the beneficial thing about reboots and remakes, like RoboCop, to me at least, is I know there's another one of this film that has higher marks and better scores and better reviews, and people like it more and they talk about it more. Let me go find that and watch that one.
Yeah.
Because now I've seen this one, and obviously people hate it, but I keep hearing the other version of this is better. So let me go find out. Now, the only thing that can be a turnoff, especially in this generation, is the time frame. Like, for me, RoboCop is nostalgic, and it's very much a film of its time.
Yeah, there you go.
And so that can turn off this current, like, anyone born after 95, it's a very different feeling. Very different type of nostalgia with films. I mean, you go up to certain points. If you were introduced and grew up on older movies, then you have a little more appreciation for older films that are past your prime. But I mean, generally, when you start getting films, you're getting the newer stuff. You're getting when computers are already being used in films for backgrounds, for plates, for big effect shots and such, and not so much anymore. And actually, the other day I was watching Batman Forever, just because I can, because it's actually, I think, one of the better Batman films for being as over the top as it is.
Yeah.
And some of the CG in that film, I'm looking at going, oh my god, now that is what qualifies as previs. Is like not even final rendering. That's just like what we use to say, this is what the shot's going to look like. You know, when we finish detailing it and getting it looking as real as possible. And at the time, that was as real as possible with effects. And even films like Avatar, the effects are now starting to show. They stick out a little more. Even for a film that's almost, completely computer generated, it's starting to stick out.
Yeah.
And it's too bad. But I'm hoping that's only beneficial as far as what's to come and what we can do with special effects. Jurassic World, I think, is one that I'm hoping will kind of help reset that bar the way Jurassic Park did in '93. It really set a bar for computers in live action. I'm hoping to see that reset by its own self in Jurassic World. As with every podcast, we like to watch a movie. Tonight we are watching 2007's Transformers.
Bayformers?
Yeah, and Tommy calls it Bayformers because Transformers is something completely different. This is Michael Bay blowing shit up with cars that turn into robots.
It's explosions.
It's explosions.
It's Megan Fox, explosions, and a storyline that's very generic. Sounds like a Michael Bay film.
Wow, that's mean.
Mean?
So 2007's Transformers, starring Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox, Josh Duhamel, John Turturro, and Jon Voight. To me, this is the best of the Transformers series.
It is the best
which
of
is
them.
Really, I mean, some people say that's not saying much. They're all shit. This one to me was fun. I liked it. They got Peter Cullen to be Optimus Prime. They did some fun stuff. There was little hints here and there to the old cartoon. Which, honestly, if you go back and watch the old cartoon, there's no way that in a live-action film you would believe the transformation done in the cartoon on a live-action film. So what they did with this film is much more believable as far as how the cars change into robots and such. So, I mean, yes, nostalgia's fun, and it's good to have, and, Michael Bay ruined my childhood by making the Transformers, look all fucking weird and shit. I don't care. This is not your childhood anymore. Your childhood is there in the old animated film. Or in the old anime TV show. That's your childhood. This movie is not your childhood. It's not meant to be your childhood. Get over it. So, I like this one. It's almost borders on a guilty pleasure film, because I know a lot of people hate it. But I loved it. I thought it was fun action. And it's what I expected from a Michael Bay film. Hot chicks, fast cars, big explosions. That's a Michael Bay film. And all it does is prove the truth about Michael Bay. Say whatever you want about him. His movies suck. He used to make good movies like The Rock and Bad Boys, and now his movies are just, stupid explosions. But his movies make money. He makes money.
Sadly, that's kind of like the direction Hollywood's going.
It is a direction, but
like as we talk about remakes, remakes can be cheap, but they'll make money because
not always.
The name will sell.
But I mean, the fun thing is though, people whine and cry for original films, and original films that do come out, they're not doing anything. Tomorrowland is an original film.
Yeah,
it's not doing.
That's true.
Ex Machina, I saw that over this weekend as well. A very original film, very good, very well directed, well acted, well paced. It's under the radar. People are hearing about it, but they're not really seeing it. It's one that will underperform and be a critical hit and like a movie buff's hit, but it's not going to hit a mass audience. What's another one I'm thinking of that's an original film? There's a lot more original films that come out than people give credit to. But the reason we don't address that, and we don't say it, and I've said it before on the show, is that what we see always being hyped and advertised are the bigger studio tentpoles because they know that's going to make money. And you know what those tentpoles do when they make their money? They help fund the other small films.
Yeah.
Because that money isn't just, Star Wars money is just for Star Wars, Marvel money is just for Marvel. No, that money then goes throughout the studio, and it helps fund everything else and push everything else out. It's a business. Again, this, as much as we say we love movies for the art of it and for the commentary it gives on society or on people, or even the escapism, which is my first and foremost reason for loving movies, is to get out of my own head in the real world and escape to something that's fun for me. This is a business. Yeah. And so, without making the money we don't get the films that we want to see.
I mean, look at the Human Centipede 3.
I don't want to. No, God, no. I saw the first one, and I haven't
500 prison inmates tied together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's disturbing as hell. So. Well, this has been another CineMunn podcast. Thanks for joining us. I hope you had some fun with us. I know we sound a little tired. It's been a long day. And I hope you stuck with us. As with all these shows, you can find us here on our YouTube page, youtube.com, CineMunn. You can find us on Twitter at CineMunn, one word, CineMunn. We are hoping to do on this show next week. We will be in June doing a spoilers review for Jurassic World. So that's one I'm really looking forward to.
No, I was going to say
that's going to be like a freaking 2-hour show. Like I could dissect that movie and have so much fun with it. And so we hope you'll join us. If you want to listen to the show, feel free to listen to us in the car on the way to work, while you're at work. Honestly, when I'm at work, I listen to podcasts. Like I have an earbud in while I'm doing my job. And I listen to podcasts.
Yeah, I know. I need to start listening to more stuff at work.
When you're working out, you're running on a treadmill or you're on a bicycle, plug us in. If you're cooking and you just want something, you don't want to listen to music all the time, you want to hear someone talk and rant and rave about movies and stuff that you like, turn us on. We're always here to entertain you. Hope you're sticking with us. If you have not seen Avengers Age of Ultron, go see that and then listen to our previous show, which was a spoiler-filled review. We had a lot of fun on that one. We also had a guest of ours. So please... thanks for sticking with us. Once again, joined by Time Metropolis. Hopefully we'll bring back the golden deliciousness.
We'll see.
We'll see. Damn it. I'm your host, Vince Munn. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.